This is Sparks and I'm going to talk about pie. I want to talk about both kinds of pie, or the two relevant kinds of pie, which is eating pie and pie, the number. Let's talk about the number first. As I mentioned in one of my previous videos, there's one state that has the number of pi being 3 or 4. They eliminate the decimals. It's ridiculous, and that's not pi, and they're doing all their equations wrong, and it's very frustrating. And that should not be a state law, because that's a mathematical principle, and they have no right to change the principle, because it doesn't make it right. They're wrong, whoever they are. But there's a song called the Pie Song, and you can look at it right here. Right there. Click there. Alright. The pi is... pi, like the symbol pi, is based off of the Greek letter P, and it was first used as an abbreviation for parameter in 1706. The number pi was used before that. They just called it parameter instead of pi. Pi was estimated by Archimedes of Syracuse. Yeah. He lived from 287 BCE, which is before Common Era, to 212 BCE, before Common Era. He estimated the value of pi to be between 3.1429 and 3.1408, which is entirely accurate, which is really surprising considering he reached this conclusion by using geometry, or also other forms of math. But basically he made the shapes of hexagons inside of a circle and outside of a circle, and then estimated it based on the closer they got. I'm not entirely sure how he did this because I'm not a math genius, but I know that that's how he reached this conclusion. And he was right, because the value of pi to 9 decimals is 3.14159265. Let's talk about other pies now. For example, this is like a modern day pie. Actually, if I didn't tell you it wasn't a pie, you wouldn't know. It's like a pie. It's a chimichanga, because I like them, and I don't like pie. But yes, chimichangas are actually like the original pies because they have meat inside, and that's what the original pies had. Well, okay, not the original pies. The first pie appeared around 9,500 BCE, and those types of pies were like, it was just honey to sweeten it, and it was a dessert that they ate. And then sometime before 2000 BCE, a recipe for chicken pie was written on a tablet in Sumer, which I think it's so weird to have someone, to think of it that way. They didn't have paper, but they were still sophisticated enough to, I realize that this isn't a new concept, but it's so queer to me that people, were carving recipes into tablets. I mean, it's not exactly crucial information, but it's just so, I love it. So the ancient Greeks are believed to be the originators of the pie pastry, and later, the pastry. Meat pies were what was used after the honey pies were all done with in those very, very early years of pies. That was like caveman making. No, I'm not kidding though. It really was. They had primitive tools, and they were making honey pies with them. Anyways, then meat pies were used because they're very useful for storing for long journeys, especially overseas. So the meat pies did 3 important things. They stored the meat, they sealed in juices, and they provided a light sealed holder for journeys. So that way they didn't have to be bringing chickens and stuff with them. They didn't have to bring real foods like that, and they could still have their meats, and it was just wonderful. It was dandy town. So the first American pies are based off of berries and fruits that the Native Americans pointed out to them. So that is why America is all apple pie and England is all meat pies because that's the original pies that were in each of those regions. If you think of it, soft shell tacos are basically just a modern pie or a Spanish pie. Think about that. See, now we take the pie because I am not a, what do you call it? I can't think of the word that people say, but I'm not one of those people who eats it with my hands, so there. Better? Oh, yeah. Okay, it's Oreo's birthday! Say happy birthday, Oreo! They're 100 years old now! Yum! Let's eat this 100-year-old Oreo! Yum.